So I'm going to show you how to make something like this today. And then there's a bail, ignore that little resin mark. And then I put it in, it's a really pretty pendant. And you can make it as long as you want. Then here's one with a black background. And I used a stamp. This is all using the Rose Toile stamp. This one, I did some German glass glitter on this one. And then I've got all kinds of them here. This is a scrap from Wander and a butterfly stamp. And then this is using the Lock and Key mold. And I just did something on the back of it too. So this is what we're going to look at how to do today. Let me talk to you about the supplies that I used. So the first thing that I used, these can be a little bit trickier to find depending on where you're at. Thank you. These are from Dollar Tree and they're Jenga blocks. So they come in a package of, I don't know how many lots, 36 blocks. They come like this. I glue them together is what I do. And I didn't think of this. I saw somebody do this to make Christmas ornaments a couple of years ago, and I just tweaked it to do pendants. So you'll need that. And then whatever you're going to use for scraps, whether it's transfers, maybe you're going to use stamps, whatever you want to use. Clay, if you're going to be using one of the clay elements. And then, you know, paints, of course. But then I use these glue-on bails. You can't screw into epoxy. Well, it's not easy to do. So I love these little glue-on bails. And I use E6000 glue. They work really well. Any type of findings that you have. And then you can use clear epoxy, but this is what I love because you don't have to mix anything. Judekins Diamond Glaze. So you put this on in thin coats and you can layer it. In my experience, I'm not going to say that it's completely as clear as like the Amazing Clear Cast, but it's really, really good. And for anybody who doesn't want the smell of the two-part or you're worried about not mixing it right, this is what we're going to use today. This is on a little domino from the Dollar Tree. Isn't that cute? And there are some Swarovski crystals under the diamond glaze. So that's a cute one too. So let's get started. So I take 2 of the Jenga blocks. I use my Type Bond Quick and Thick. And I don't make rocket science out of it. I just run a little bit of glue down one side. Put the sides together. Try and squeeze it. You can clamp it too. I've clamped them. And the whites take a couple of coats just because this is raw wood. And I do paint the front and the back. So I'll let that dry. So I want to get some background on here. So if you look at this one, that's the Rose Toile. That's the Rose Toile. Rose Toile has so many fabulous elements to it. Oh, I thought I have to get the one off my wall. So you've got like these wispy parts that make beautiful backgrounds. And then you've got the wording, you've got the dragonfly. I like to have gold in my background. So these are the 3 elements that I'm thinking about from the Rose Toile. So I'm going to take, and I'm going to use, let me set 2 of these aside. I'm going to use the wispy part. You know, there are just so many, look at that, so many places of this you can use that'll give you a different look. So when I'm doing something small like that, I just use a sponge brush. I don't need my brayer. And I'll just gently wipe it on there. Any gold metallic paint will do. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. Look at that. Isn't that so pretty? And that's just one part of the rose toile. You know, and it's just being inspired by so many other people's work. And you just kind of just triggers, you know, ideas in your own head. So I just take and run it right along the side. So this isn't the sealer I usually use before a transfer, but we'll do it. So I'm going to dry this. So after you dry the sealer, you want to make sure that it's cool. Warm sealer is not a whole lot better than wet sealer. So I'll just show you what I do on the backs. And I like it better than just having a plain back of a pendant, you know, having something of interest. So I'm just going to use my sealer I use for decoupaging. And I'm gonna get the bee on there. I don't really want it centered. I'm gonna go off center with it. And then you have something of interest on the back. I'll let that dry and I'll sand that off. And I do not use diamond glaze on the backs. I just seal it. We'll do this one right here. I need to sand this edge off. That's the look I like. Just a real torn look. And that's 120 grit. And that will get sealed, the back of it. And then here's the front of it, blue. Perfect. We're gonna use this right here. And I'm gonna come off, make sure, yep, I'm gonna come off the bottom there. So I'm gonna follow this edge. I'm gonna go down one more just in case. Okay. Move this over. So blue's perfect. That's gonna look good with the background colors I have on there already. And it is sealed. Put it off over to the side a little. And sealing it just makes it so that I can just smooth this right on. I'm gonna cut that. Because I really, a lot of times I wrap my edges, but for this one I really wouldn't want to. Okay, I'm not gonna worry about that. That's now stuck to the wood. So that's what I have so far. That's the back of it. Aren't they so pretty? to use, I'm going to make sure that these are burnished on here well. So use the smooth side here. That needs to be, that edge went over just a little bit. Okay, sealer. And I am not positive that you have to seal before the diamond glaze. But I know it won't hurt. Okay, then another coat on the back. I wouldn't have to do that now necessarily. Okay, I'm going to use a popsicle stick, you guys, and work right out of the tube or the bottle. So you can see it goes on milky. It does dry clear. It is self-leveling, just like the resins are. I'm not sure it has as good of a surface tension as the clear cast. But if you want more coverage, I've learned to do multiple coats, not to put it on thick. So I'm doing the same thing here, and it takes hours. One of the things I advise too is you're letting it dry, cover it with something that keeps the dust from accumulating. Like I'll cover it with a little bowl of some sort or a box. And then once it dries, that's when I glue the bail onto the back. There we go. Always a plan B. So I have to let these sit and sit evenly. So you can see that they're milky. Oh. Let me make sure here, wrong way. They're milky, but they will dry clear. So we started with the Jenga blocks, glued them together, sanded a little bit, and then we went ahead and we built our pendants. So this is the bail, just glued on with E6000, but I let all of it dry first. And then I use a chain, and it makes a beautiful pendant. Some people like them longer, some people like them shorter. So thanks you guys for being here. Thank you for spending part of your Saturday with me. If you need to get some wonderful, amazing IOD products, find your local stockist by looking on the site. And thank you, Linda. And I appreciate you. It was tons of fun. Thanks you guys for being here. Have a great weekend. Bye, everybody.